I do not claim to be, nor have I ever claimed to be, a wilderness, survival, hunting, or firearms teacher or instructor. The actions portrayed in my videos are meant for entertainment purposes only and should not be used for any educational purposes. If you seek further wilderness, survival, hunting, or firearm education, find a school near you and join a class. So, decided to do another squirrel hunt today. It is 10:15. Had a couple errands to run this morning, but we just got over here to Pine Log WMA. Haven't been here in a while, but I wanted to stop right here at this creek. I think it's Pine Log Creek, and they usually stock right here. I don't know, there was some problems earlier in the year with the fish hatcheries got some diseases, and so they weren't growing fish. So I don't know if there's any fishing or not, but I just wanted to stop and take a look. And yep, there's fish. I see them swimming around in there. Last time I fished this area, I couldn't get anything to bite, but they're definitely in there. I seen them swimming just a second ago. And I brought my trout rod and a little small tackle box with trout gear in it because I wasn't sure if there were going to be any trout in here or not. Outside temperature is about 58 today, 57, so it's kind of chilly. I'd say the water might even still be warmer than the outside temp, but I couldn't be sure without putting a thermometer in it. So I definitely seen the one trout, but we had a pretty good storm last night. The water's a little dirty this morning. The sun comes on back up a little bit. Shines some light through the water. We might be able to see stuff. Start seeing the bottom right over in there. I'm not seeing. Usually there's trout all over everywhere in there. I'm not seeing a whole lot in there today. I did see for sure one though when I pulled in. So, but I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna head on down the road from here. There's some gates up at the top of the hill up here that are usually closed and locked up, and so I'm gonna go check and see if they are. If they're not, then we can drive through. If they are locked up, then I'm gonna make a decision on if I want to hunt the area or if I want to go somewhere else. Stay tuned. So the gate going straight on the road I was on earlier was closed, and there were some cars there, so the gate on the left was open, and so I went ahead and went up that probably 2 miles, 2.5, 3 miles, and I just happened to see this little Pine Log mountain here on the left, so we're gonna park here, and we're gonna try to summit this little mountain. It's not very big, probably 600 feet, but this area is actually got a lot of standing hardwood, so I've already seen a couple squirrels, jumped a nice buck. We'll see what we can do. I have been on this road like 2 other times when I've managed to find the gate open, And the first time I came through on my motorcycle, I made it all the way back out to East Valley. But the second time I came through, I was in my truck, and not far up at the top of this hill up here, there's another gate, which I'm curious to see if it's open today. But there was a large mud hole there, and a BMW SUV had gotten stuck, and there was a DNR officer there, and he ended up pulling my license and stuff, and they had been expired for like 6 days. And I didn't realize that they had changed Pine Log to needing a GORP pass or a fishing license to be here. So he was actually really cool. He ended up telling me just not to come back until I got my license renewed and stuff. So now I just make sure everything's renewed before I come out here. But this looks like it's going to be some thick stuff up through here. I didn't even notice this little fire pit when I came in. I actually thought this was just kind of a drainage pull off, but it worked to park the car. But so I'm going to get my vest on and get all my bag ready and everything, and then we're going to, I guess, start heading up that way. Looks like little Pine Log's probably over here. It's kind of like a valley, like a gap right here maybe. So we'll probably head that way and see if we can get up to the top of Little Pine Log right here. So today I didn't bring the 16 gauge. This is a Remington 870 Express Magnum. It's probably 10-11 years old, and it's been used very hard. It's killed its fair share of squirrels, and me and my wife used to be big into clay shooting. This gun's probably seen 2,000, 2,500 rounds in its life. But I really like it, and it works good, so I decided to bring it today. I've got low brass for it, and all I have for my 16 is high brass. And I'm just going to use the 20 gauge until I can get some low brass for it. So lock the car up, and now we're headed up Little Pine Log Mountain. We'll see what happens. Made it about, I don't know, 1,000 yards from the car down the hill, and it's getting pretty rocky up in here. Black bear country. All these little briars produce berries in the spring, and them bears will come in here and be in here and eat like crazy. I've got all these little berry bushes up at the cabin, and they didn't produce that well this year, so these are dead now. Obviously it's fall, but the bears could still be in here. And with it being rocky like this could, you know, hold small ledges or caves, and that's where they're going to be trying to find to hibernate. So I'm just going to be alert as I'm walking through here, just in case. I'm not scared of the bears, but I have a pretty strong respect for them. I let them do their thing. Bear is actually my favorite animal. I've encountered several of them walking these mountains. I've never had a problem, never had one mock charge me. But I've also never been between one and her cubs, except for once, and I was on my motorcycle, and I had a way to escape if I needed to. But anyways, I ended up staying up that washout, and according to the GPS, it looks like I'm headed right straight for Pine Log Mountain if I stay straight up through here. So that's what we're gonna do. Right now I'm just kind of following this berries berry patches, staying out of the thick stuff when I can. Probably one of, if not the biggest wild mushroom I've seen. And I have been studying plants and edible vegetation and medicinal uses of native North American plants, but mushrooms is a whole nother category, and I couldn't even begin to tell you what that thing is. It's big though. I mean, it's just for comparison, I mean, that's my hand. Just probably two of my hands. But it's pretty cool to see. Here's another mushroom. Completely different in color, nature, and size of the other one. That one looks like it might be deadly. It's just got that weird look to it. I don't know. I'm not that well versed in mushrooms, as I said. But it's definitely not something that I'm gonna touch and then be touching my face. This is kind of a good sign. There's fresh acorns. Really the first one I've seen. There's a couple other acorns laying here on the ground, but none of them are fresh. Haven't even heard or seen a squirrel here, and I was beginning to get worried. I'm interested to see what's going to happen up here at the top of this hill. The GPS says that Little Pine Mountain's at about 1,590 foot elevation. We're hanging out at about, let's see, we're hanging out at 1360 right now, so we got about 200 feet more to go. However, Little Pine Mountain is not the high spot. It's kind of like, according to Onyx, Little Pine Mountain's kind of on the other side of the summit here. The summit's about 1,700 feet, but the summit's not named. And then I thought it was just maybe a glitch or something with Onyx, and it was pinning the mountain to the right of what was actually Little Pine Log at 1,700 feet, but it has Little Pine Log marked at 1,590 feet. So I don't guess the summit of this, the main summit of this mountain has a name, unless they're just classifying Little Pine Mountain in general as this whole mountain, which is possible. Train rolling through Rydal, however you say it, on the other side of this mountain over here. As a kid, hunting with my grandfather, I was always taught, sitting in a deer stand in South Georgia, trains would come through about once an hour, and they would usually last anywhere from 5 minutes to 15 minutes. And they were pretty loud between the horns and just the general noise on the tracks. You know, that was the time that you move around, pee or eat a snack or rustle cracker packages or whatever, was when the train was coming through. That way it's kind of, the noise was kind of muffled by the sound of the train, and the train is something that the animals are used to anyway, so it doesn't really matter here. That just hearing that train come by stirred up that memory of being a young boy in the deer stand with my grandfather and hearing a train come by, and we'd open crackers and eat real quick by the time the train got done running its course. First real evidence of squirrels in the area, all right up in here, are these acorn caps or shells. and you can tell the squirrels have been eating on them. And there's a mushroom right up in there. Looks like it's been chewed on, which is interesting. I would assume if a squirrel can chew on that and it not kill them, then that's probably okay for human consumption. But that I know of, you don't have to worry about eating any squirrel because of what they've consumed. All right, so let's see. Been hiking for about 30, right at 30 minutes, and I've climbed almost 1,000 feet of elevation. I'm starting to see the ridge up there though, so that's a good sign. I think I need to be a little more left here to get up to the 1,700 feet peak. But I think to the right more is what they're going to consider Little Pine Log Mountain. And I've not seen a single sign of an animal today. Not since I've been on this mountain. Haven't heard a squirrel, haven't seen a squirrel. There's not really very many fresh acorns up here. Most of the ones I'm seeing are pretty old. Like right in here, I'm seeing some caps out of this oak, but looks like maybe the squirrels have eaten pretty well around here. I'll tell you another animal I'll be interested in shooting, especially with all this bramble, and I've been seeing quite a few of the trails, is a rabbit. I know they're up in here, but chances of running across one pretty rare, unless you've got dogs out here running them, and none of my dogs are hunting dogs, so this trail, I don't know if, hopefully you can see it. You can probably see it right here, right through there. At first I thought it was a deer trail because it's been used pretty heavily since it rained last night, but if you look right there, there's a hollow part of that tree, and you can see where they've been going right into the tree. Best guess is raccoon, but I'm not going to go poking around, find out. If he comes out, then that'll let me know, but I'm not going to mess with it. So we finally peaked the ridge, or what I feel like is the ridge. And it's actually pretty awesome. Nice camping spot right over there. All this would be nice. I need to pull up my GPS and see. This may be Little Pine Log where I'm at here. So it looks like still pretty good incline going up through there, but not a very wide ridge here. Probably, if you count flattest, probably from that tree over there to right over there to that tree, 30-40 yards at the most, flat up through here. But this right here, let's see, that tree's kind of sketchy, but I think it would be okay. With this soft moss on the ground, this would be a perfect place to lay a ground tent. Pretty lonely up in here. Kind of open up on this ridge. The only thing is you'd get wind, which it is blowing now. It started blowing about halfway up. Remember what I was saying earlier about bear country? So that's bear scat. That's a small pile, maybe a cub, but it's there. It doesn't look very fresh, but it also doesn't look very old. So definitely more so now than before. Keep my eyes open. stay alert. According to the GPS, this is the way up to the summit, the 1,700 foot one. I'm at about 1560 now, but I wanna see that 1,700 foot one that the map's showing that technically don't have a name. Gotta bushwhack through some of this shit, thicker stuff. See, these brambles over here still got leaves on them. They probably didn't have berries on them that long back. Woods are starting to come alive a little bit now. Birds are chirping. That's a good sign. But I gotta figure out. Looks like it's climbing again pretty good. So let's check Onyx here. I ain't got much more to climb, just a little bit. See y'all when I get there. So I think this is the official summit of what I'm gonna call Pine Log, or I'm sorry, Little Pine Log Mountain. GPS has it, the actual summit, a little further down by like 2 elevation lines, or no, maybe 1 elevation line. It's like 100, maybe 200 feet down is where it has it pinned at, but I think it's just meant to be here because the elevation's also wrong. The lines on the map have me at over 1,700 feet, but the GPS has me at 1655 and my Garmin has me at like 1688. So not a very high mountain, and this area is generally flat anyway. So, but I did climb up from around like 1,250 foot is where the car's parked. So a solid 550 foot climb up with a 40-pound pack on. Yes, I have a 45. Yes, I have a 40-pound pack. I'm just, it's got all kinds of different stuff in it that I'm trying to, I'm gonna be going hiking soon, so I don't know if you can see it in the GoPro, but overlooking White / Rydal area over there, that's west actually, and you can see how flat it is through there. There's not another hill or mountain for, I don't know, I mean, I see some shadows way far over there, like just barely enough for the eye to see. Most of that down through there is flat valley lands. But yes, my pack is like, it's like 34 pounds I think, but it's it's just got everything in it that I need. This is a good spot to get up in here and get hurt. Twist an ankle or something. I do have my alright, I'm assuming this isn't a actual physical summit marker or geological survey marker, but it is something that didn't form naturally. Somebody formed that in kind of like a circle into what is going to be considered the summit here, and probably one of the better views looking out. Well, I made it to the summit of Little Pine Log Mountain. We are at 1,688 feet. Not very high considering there's mountains east of here close to 5,000, but for pretty far west Georgia, it's a pretty tall mountain. And I think there's even a mountain or two here in the area that's a little bit taller, and I plan to get over on those as well. But I mean, I don't know how well the camera's picking it up, but generally it's basically flat from here to Alabama. I was gonna take this opportunity to make some coffee, but I only brought one bottle of water, and I've pretty much drank all of it. So I was thirsty climbing up this hill. But I mentioned earlier that my pack here is like 30 to 40 pounds, somewhere in there. And most people probably wouldn't want to carry a pack that heavy for just a little day trip to come out and climb a mountain, or to even go squirrel hunting. But I thought it might be a good idea to talk about not so much as what I have in the pack today, but why I carry a pack. Because and some of the weight in the pack is from camera equipment, the tripod that y'all are on now, spare ammo, things that I could cut out and save weight on, but I prefer to have. But basically, this pack, I could live out of this pack in the woods for probably, I could stretch it out to probably a week. And most people don't think about that, but you know, I've been a part of some things in the last 2 years that changed my mind about how I operate in the woods, and I guess sustainability, survival, knowledge while you're out here. You know, it's good to know all the primitive things, like how to build a bushcraft shelter, how to start a fire with using what you have. But the reality is, you know, there's so much stuff out there nowadays that if you just take a little bit of patience, you can be well prepared to survive just about anything that you're put in front of. And you know, I mean, that's just speaking from things that you have in your pocket. Like, you know, I could survive a few nights with just the knives and the lighters that I have in my pocket, that I keep in my pocket all the time. But, you know, my bag is more involved. It's got fire starters and stuff like that, and a lot of people won't carry that stuff. And like I was saying, I've been part of two, or I was definitely involved with one event, and I was alerted of another event that's occurring right now that unfortunately I'm pretty sure is going to turn from a rescue mission to recovery mission. Some hunters went into the woods to squirrel hunt and they separated, and the oldest man has gone missing. He's been missing for about 8 to 10 days now, and he's in one of the roughest, most unforgiving parts of terrain that Georgia has to offer. I've spent some time over there, and you know, they've got search and rescue crews from all over the southeast over there looking for this guy right now, and he can't be found. It's actually some pretty weird circumstances. He was left alone for 10 minutes and just disappeared basically. They've had cadaver dogs, drones, infrared, FLIR, helicopters, airplanes, on-ground search and rescue teams, volunteers, and there has been absolutely zero evidence that that guy was in those woods. And I actually tagged Can-Am project with David Pilates, who specializes in missing people predominantly from national parks, but I thought he might be interested in this particular one because it holds the same, it's in that same category as the rest of the disappearances he speaks about in his book Missing 411 The Hunted. But anyways, long story short, that's why I carry this pack, because you know, I can keep myself alive in the event that I somehow manage to get lost, or in the event that I hurt myself, or in the event that I am out hunting with some folks and we get separated and, you know, I'm out there by myself. I can, you know, I can at least sustain myself for several days in the woods until search and rescue can find me. You know, I don't know the circumstances behind those guys that were hunting. If I had to guess, I'd say they probably didn't have anything but a gun, and they may have had a backpack. I don't know, but I doubt that they were carrying something like this where they could survive. You know, his chances for survival have gone down day after day after day, especially being, you know, pushing upward 70s. I think he was maybe even like 74, so low 70s actually, but I think he was like 74, 75, and you know, your chances for survival go down. Thankfully, it's not been real cold here yet. I think it's got down to below, like in the high 30s once in these mountain areas over here, so the chances of him freezing to death I don't think are very high at the moment, but the chances of him starving are pretty high, because I'm sure that he probably didn't you know, carry any extra food in a pack or snacks or any of that, and if he did, he's probably out of them by now. So it's just always, I've always been a prepared person, so I just make sure that I carry this pack with me when I come out. It's got everything in it that I could need, like I said, for probably 5 days. I've got MREs in there, I've got other snacks, I've got a water purifier, I've got a cooker, I've got a shelter, I've got spare clothes, spare socks, gloves, toboggan if I need it. I always, no matter what, I keep a separated 3 ammo cartridges that haven't been spent yet. They teach you in survival that if you're out hunting, you need to have at least 3 extra cells, because 3 shots in succession to each other can signal other hunters that you're in trouble, if they know what that means. Generally, most people I talk to do know that, so, you know, I know there was cars down on the road earlier, so, you know, me being me, I would think that if I were to be up here hurt and in my mind, those people are probably going to be done hiking around 3 or 4 this evening, so I may wait until 3 or 4 o'clock, fire off 3 rounds, and if one of those persons down there know what that means, then it could very well be what could lead someone to me. But I also have 2 whistles. I have a whistle in my first aid kit, which I do have in here, and I have a whistle on my strap on my backpack, which is also handy because people are going to hear that high-pitched whistle before they hear yelling and screaming. You know, we need to stay vigilant and we need to stay prepared, and there's no reason why, if you're going to be out here walking around in the woods and you're going to subject yourself to being hurt or possibly getting hurt or possibly getting lost, that we can't do it and go prepared when we go. And you know, I imagine a guy like that guy that's missing right now has probably been hunting his whole life, so it's not fair to say make sure you know what you're doing before you go in the woods, because in that circumstance he probably did know. He probably hunted for a long period of time, and I mean, you know, he's lived 2 lifetimes compared to me, so it's unfair to say go prepared. But I will say, for anyone that's new, that's looking to get into hiking, should consider taking some, you know, wilderness classes. They should consider taking some GPS classes, map reading classes, compass reading classes, things that are actually gonna keep you alive when you're out here. Going to REI and buying $1,000 worth of hiking clothes and a couple cool hiking poles, and then trying to come out here and think that you're not going to get lost, and think that if you do get lost you're going to be able to survive because somebody's going to come rescue you, is the wrong ideology to have, and that's where a lot of people get in trouble. Alright, spent a little while up here enjoying a little bit of sun and the view, so grab my gun here and we're gonna start easing back towards the vehicle. I don't have to be in a super hurry, but I do have to leave by a certain time so I can be back. So I think on the way back I'm gonna keep a steady pace back down, but I'm gonna try to take it a little bit slower to see if we might can get a shot on a squirrel or something. I seen one just as we were coming up to the summit here a little bit ago, so maybe we'll catch another one on the way down. Like I said a little bit earlier, the woods have livelied up a little bit since the fog burned off and the sun came out, so we'll see. So we're heading down this mountain on a different side than what we came up. We're heading down the north side, northeast sort of, and we came up on the southeast side. Eventually somewhere down further down we'll have to skirt back around, but this side's a lot thicker. I tried to come up in the less thick stuff, but I also must say I think I've finally found somewhere that a lot of people don't come. I imagine there's been other people on this mountain. I mean, it's inevitable, and it's inevitable that they've not been here, but I don't think they come here a lot. There's not a lot of sign of human traffic here, and I'm very impressed that I haven't seen any trash at all in these woods. other than the beer can. The one beer can that is in the fire pit where the car is parked, and I plan to grab it before I leave. Aside from that, I've not seen a single can, bottle, wrapper. I mean, nothing. I haven't even seen a balloon. And you usually always see balloons, you know, they fall out of the sky after you let them go. And I've not seen anything, so I'm actually super impressed by that. And that alone just makes me want to come back here more. But paired with the idea or opinion that I don't think very many people frequent this area. You know, there's not a lot of worn trails, and there's not you know, nails in the trees where people's camped, or I haven't seen any trees with hammock where people's hung hammocks. I haven't really seen any flat ground where people would pitch tents. Just very, very small amount of human presence here. It's actually pretty awesome. It's not very, it's pretty rare that you find a place like this here in North Georgia. Most places are just overused and trash everywhere. But again, this is more towards the west and less, I think this WMA is less frequented because of the circumstances around it. Now, the roads and stuff coming in are in pretty bad shape, and they do stay closed when it's not hunting season because the local good old boys come in and tear up the roads. So still got that, but aside from that, it's actually really nice woods here. Made it back to the RAV4. A little different. Some point coming down, I was trying to stay more west, but I ended up coming back east anyways. So I ended up almost coming back down the exact path I went up. So wasn't too bad for a day hike. A little time up. I seen one squirrel all the way up, and it was almost at the very top where the summit was when I seen the guy. So I don't know if they're just not very active in this area, or wrong time of day. I didn't even hear any barking. I mean, it was just woods were quiet, and I didn't see any animals really. So I'm gonna grab this beer can. I'm gonna put all my stuff away, get turned around, and get heading back down the road here. Picked up the pace a little bit coming back down since it's about 2:15. I need to really be getting out of here so I can be back a mountain over to pick up the kids. Just depends on how quick I get out of here. I may stop down at the bottom of the hill and purify some water, maybe make a cup of coffee. We'll see. So we're gonna make a quick pit stop. I ended up going up the hill, up the road, and I mentioned earlier that the gates usually closed. It was open today actually, so we're gonna take it all the way back over to East Valley. But I was looking at the GPS, and there's these Sugar Hill pond and this little thing right here. It's actually right there, and So I've never been here before because the red gate's always closed. So we're gonna go give it a look and see what's going on, what the deal is. Looks like it's a pretty decent little thing. Could walk right across that tree right there. I think that's what we'll do. If I don't fall down and break my neck first. Hope my balance is pretty good. This water's pretty nasty looking right through here, but hopefully I don't fall. Ooh. Tree's awfully wobbly. And I'm gonna end up falling right here if I ain't careful. Right into the water. Alright, made it across. Wow. Now this isn't even the biggest pond. This was just like a little tributary. Frogs jumping off in here. Oh man, this is pretty awesome. I wonder, I mean it's tiny, but I wonder what kind of fishing you could do up in here. I mean, if this little pond's this little, I wonder how big the next one down is. It's pretty awesome to be roadside. And unless you were just looking or seen it on a GPS, you wouldn't know that it was there, really. Because it's kind of like a bend in the road. And I got like a decent vantage point from up here. I can't really see any fish in the water. Alright, we'll go down and give the next one a look. Alright, so we made it to Sugar Hill Pond, according to what Onyx says. It looks like it's going to be a pretty big deal. The road actually comes right in here to it. And like I said, usually the gate's up, so the gate's open, which means people have access getting right down here to it. But during the off season, when the gate was to be closed, it would definitely be worth hiking down here and camping right on the banks. And it looks like people bring boats in here. I mean, this goes right up to the bank here. I would definitely bring my kayak and fish. I'm actually gonna, once I get back to the house later, I'm gonna text my buddy Chris, who lives just right over in Rydal, and see if he's ever heard of anybody coming out here and fishing, because this is the first I've known about this place. So there it is. And it stretches all the way back over here, almost back up to the road, and then plumb back around this hill here. And it's called, let's see, Sugar Hill Pond. Now, when we go on down this road and it'll bring us back over by East Valley. I know there's a lake over there called Neel Lake. I've actually hiked in from that side and hiked up through the bush on the back side of that lake. So we'll get to pass it too, but that's pretty cool finding this. You never know what you're gonna find when you come out here and start exploring. This was definitely a solid find, because I'll definitely hike back in to this, or even bring my kayak, my sit on top out here and paddle around it and do some fishing. Same story as that little one we just looked at a while ago. I don't see any fish just sitting here looking, but it's also getting kind of, temperatures are getting cooler up here, so they're probably going to be further down. And there's a fair amount of blowdowns in the pond slash lake, whatever you'd like to call it. There, and there's some stuff out there in the middle that I bet house a fair amount of fish. And I bet, so just because I see this here, this firing looks like it's extremely old, I don't think anybody's camped here in a minute. Although I just noticed this stick right here. That's a fresh cut. It's like somebody's hiking stick, maybe. All right, we're gonna continue on. So we drove the road all the way just to find the gate closed. And the road is literally 20 yards. The main road is literally 20 yards on the other side of that gate. So now we gotta drive all the way back across the mountain, back to Stamp Creek, and then back to the house. And I've got about an hour and 45 to do it. So I guess we're gonna see what the little RAV4's got. Fall colors are setting in nice here in North Georgia. I'd imagine a little further north they're probably really nice. I happened to look over and there's another little pond right there. That water looks pretty brown. I don't really like the other ponds, but I came through here a while ago and didn't notice that. There's a pretty cool section of road right here that goes. Had to come through, and I'm sure they had to use dynamite to blow this rock out. What's crazy to me though is they have every gate on this road open except for the one at the very end. Like, why are you gonna let people drive all the way through and have that gate closed? So I end up driving down that Forest Service road way faster than what I should have. I don't really like doing that. I usually try to take it pretty easy down through most of those roads. Not only save some wear and tear on your vehicle, but you never know when someone's going to be coming down through there. I don't know whose decision it was to open every gate on the road except for the one at the very end. And I should have texted my buddy Chris. He knew that it was closed because I talked to him. And anyways, it was just a bad decision on their part, bad decision on my part to go there knowing that the gate was probably closed. I don't think I've seen that gate on East Valley Road open in, I don't know, it's been probably 2 or 3 years. Ever since I had my motorcycle, I've never been able to catch it open. Well, one time I caught it open. That was it. So now I'm back out on the main road, headed to the house. I don't think I'm going to make it in time. I've got about 50 or so minutes. It's gonna be close. I may make it, I may not. Traffic's wanting to back up everywhere now that I'm not on the main road. But yeah, so if you didn't understand what was going on in the video, basically I went out to Pine Log WMA in North Georgia, just outside of Rydal, Georgia. And I left this morning with the intentions to go squirrel hunting, so I brought my hunting bag and my gun and all. When I got to Pine Log and was up in the WMA, I noticed some of the roads that I was planning on going down were closed. So I decided, looking at the GPS, there was a couple little mountains nearby, so I decided to go ahead and try to summit one of them, since my goal last time I went out was to summit a mountain, and I actually ended up killing a squirrel, so I never got around to it. So I went ahead and summited Little Pine Log Mountain. So that was pretty cool. Unfortunately, there wasn't a geological survey marker there, so I didn't get a picture of that. However, at some point in time, someone had made like a circle stone designated marker type deal for the area. I seen one squirrel on the way up, not very far from the summit, and I couldn't put a shot on it. I wasn't comfortable with the shot. I knew I probably could have made the shot, but there was a risk that I would have missed. So I just opted not to take the shot. And then on the way in this morning, I seen a nice buck. He was pretty big bodied. He had a decent spread. I didn't see how many points or nothing like that. I see he's moving really fast. He came running from across the field all the way about 60 yards in front of me, across the road and up into some thick woods on the right hand side. So I started going a little bit slower through there, just seeing if there were going to be any more deer creeping around, and I never seen anything else. So I didn't see any other animals. I didn't hear any other animals really until about, I guess it's about 11:45 or noon. The woods finally started coming alive. The fog burned off the mountain. The sun came up. The birds started singing and chirping. I did hear a couple squirrels chewing on acorns and barking, but I never did see them. I never did pursue them. So I didn't get anything today. I was skunked on the hunting aspect, but that's the way it be sometimes. Maybe we can make something happen next time we're out there. But that'll be it for this video. I'm on the rush to get back and get the kids, so I'll catch you guys later.